Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to the Other Side Lifestyle Podcast with Jim and Aram. Today we have repeat guest coach Jayme Shiarla, recently a published author, recently became, still currently is a
We just
published
removed
author.
it. I published it and I took it back.
It's gone. It was actually, the book was so bad, the World Publishing Clearinghouse pulled it. Amazon
You
was
should
like,
go
we can't
buy
sell
it to
this.
see just how bad it is.
Yeah.
Marketing.
I actually like that as a sales tactic. You should see how shitty this really is.
It's been banned because people become more free as individuals and they're not so captive to the government. That's why it's been taken away. It's been burned at local town hall meetings. It's very controversial. I accidentally bought 2 copies, so I have 2 copies. I bought it, and then I was like, oh yeah, I got to buy it. Because it didn't come yet. It was like the next day. I forgot I actually bought it. So I bought another one. So I have a second copy. That'll be
Can I tell you actually probably one of like the coolest stories that I've heard since publishing my book, like what has happened, just since you mentioned that. Like I feel like it's a cheesy phrase where it's like, if this helps just one person, I'm good. But no, this one really like was that moment where like if the book gets pulled, I'm golden. I had a client of mine who had purchased the book and he is in AA and he was at one of his AA meetings and was sitting on the park bench. All of a sudden he picks up my book and starts reading it and he stopped for a second. He's like, wait a minute, I didn't bring my book with me. So my book was randomly just sitting on a park bench outside of an AA meeting. I don't know who put it there, whatever, but I'm just like, how cool that somebody could pick that up and like that could literally like have been something to like change the trajectory of their life.
Yeah, me and Aram both know it's from brain damage from alcohol abuse. He brought the book with him.
No, I know he
I'm
didn't.
just kidding.
You jerks! Why do you have to buzzkill that really cool
like,
story?
Yeah, it's like, I lost my phone. Oh, wait, here's one. Oh, my God, it has all my same apps on it. This is so lucky.
No, but it was cool. Thanks for ruining a really cheesy, awesome moment.
That's what we're here for.
Go.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
It looks like it's been going well. I mean, from all the people on the RCS Instagram page that were talking about it and all the people just in general that reposted on your page, it's just been really cool to see the traction that it's gotten. I mean, listen, I've already sang your praises too many times at this point to where I don't even know how to count it all. But
seven.
You better step it up, Jimmy.
To say that I worship the ground that you walk on is a little bit excessive. But if I believed in any deity, which I don't, but if I did,
You're right.
I would be a female in Texas.
Yeah, it would be like you're the closest thing to God that I will ever believe in. So thank you.
Aww. I don't know how I feel about that, but thank you. You were like one of my favorite people. Jimmy, you're getting up there too. That's why I'm so honored that you guys let me back here. I just wanted to virtually hang out and you send me the podcast link, so I guess it's good enough to be back.
Yeah. I don't need to sing her praises publicly. She knows how I feel. You know, I do it when it's needed. But I like to just let the person know without having to tell the world as if I'm something special for telling.
But don't worry, because publicly he'll take the wind out of my sails. So
I will do that
humbles
immediately.
me.
Immediately. Jayme, tell people, describe what kind of your book is for people who have no idea who you are. Jayme has been on here before, like I said at the beginning. But how would you describe your book?
Yeah, so my book, it's actually crazy because I had I wrote it 4 years ago and didn't publish it until this year. But
so it was completely written 4 years ago, like finished.
It was literally chilling in my Google Docs since November of 2021.
Wow.
And yeah, I kind of in a way just like forgot about it. But one thing is that through the many diverse forms of adversity personally and professionally, like there's a lot of really dark moments where I attempted to end my life and just didn't care about anything anymore. And quotes were the only thing that got me through. And so, I mean, I had like Post-it notes of quotes all over. I had them written on my mirror. I had them all the way out through my garage into my car. Like quotes were what like literally saved my life. And so I compiled and I narrowed it down to 123 of them, which a couple are what I like to call Jaymeisms, ones that I kind of made up. And so I put those all into one book. But for me, I don't believe we live in a world that we have an information problem. We have what words that I don't have. An implementation problem. And so for me, it's like, I don't want to just give you an inspiring thing so you can go back and not do anything with it. And so with the book, there's a quote. And then with every single page next to that, it's either part of my story, it's my perspective of the quote that can challenge you to see it through a different lens. And then it leaves you with a call to action to actually go do something with what you just read.
So it's like a workbook.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's so I wanted to dive into that because I think between what Jimmy's been doing in the last year with kind of his, I'll call it a rebranding. We could call it a rebranding, right?
Yeah, I'm still doing nutrition coaching and all that. And it's been a while since I did one of those groups, but yeah, the change of topic, a little bit of a rebrand, I guess you could say.
Yeah, like a little bit of a switch in direction of how
Yeah.
you deal with people's problems and really working more from the inside out as opposed to giving people the technical savvy and the technical knowledge of how to improve their health. It's really understanding what is it that's preventing them from taking the action that they know they should be taking, because we're not saying anything monumentally new or different than anybody else is. It's just, how do we get people to understand? And when we talk about this concept of inner work, and you and I have gone down that rabbit hole several times, a lot of people have, like, and Ben, do you know who, Jayme, do you know who Ben Mayfield Smith is, the Australian guy that we'll repost sometimes? He's Jimmy's coach.
I think so.
So he's a bodybuilding coach out of Australia, but he's getting his education, his furthering education in psychology. And I don't know if it's his phrase or if he heard it from somewhere else, but this concept of like pop psychology, where everybody now is very like aware and they're pathologizing and they're using all this terminology like, I have this condition, or I'm avoidant attachment, or they've heard something somewhere. And it's like, oh, yeah, like the horoscope, that makes sense. So we live in this, like, just like you said, we don't need more information. So we don't need more of this stuff and awareness. How do we actually get people to put this shit into practice, to do the stuff they need to do to start to remedy and heal the parts of themselves that are not well right now?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that very much leads into like confirmation bias, right? Like we want to control an outcome so bad that even like the flaws of ourselves, if I can put a label to it, I can feel better about myself, even though I still haven't necessarily been motivated enough to change it. It's just now I have a label to slap that this is what I have. This is what's wrong with me. This is what I do, like, but that's kind of my big thing is like, but what are we going to do with that now that we know that? And it's more of the action that is going to follow. And so how do we inspire somebody to take initiative to do something with that information that they have?
And that's where I think like the workbook style of what you kind of had going on. Like I did a check-in today with a client, and his training for him is automatic. Nutrition at this point is pretty good, but you can just tell that the subtext of what he was saying, that there's just not a lot of personal fulfillment. There's not a lot of joy. And it's like, well, how do we get that person to get back to that place where there's a purpose for all of this, as opposed to just doing it because society has told us to do it, or because there's an expectation of us from our parents to do it, and to actually find a purpose on the inside of what actually makes me happy and why do I do this. And that was a lot of the work that you and I did together, because I was very much that person of just going from task to task, being a relatively high achiever, and kind of hiding behind that success and never really understanding why the fuck I did any of it, and then which also led down the path of a lot of destructive decisions. And what I think was the difference between you and traditional therapy was you didn't regurgitate back to me what I was saying to you and then asking me how I felt about it. You challenged my thinking, you challenged my belief systems, and then you left me with homework to do that was specific to like one or two things that we talked about. Not a ton of, because we broke down tons of walls and we had a lot of stuff to talk about, but you never overwhelmed me with a ton of shit to do. And that's where, like, I told this guy today, I said, hey man, like, we're good, but I want you to just do a gratitude practice for 3 times a week for 5 minutes apiece. Like, just sit down in a quiet room, whether it's on your phone, whether it's in a notebook, and just say 1 or 2 things that you're grateful for that day, and talk about one opportunity from a self-development standpoint that you'd like to work on at some point in the future. And that was the type of shit that you and I did. And sometimes I did it and sometimes I didn't. And the sessions that we had where I did do the work were super productive versus, the sessions that I didn't come in prepared. Then it was a lot of just you being like, well, what the fuck do you want me to do? Like, you didn't you didn't do what I asked you to do. We can sit here and unpack all this stuff for the 95th time, but you're not doing anything about it. So I can't help you with it. And that's where I think a lot of CBT fails, in that there is no challenge. It's just validation. We know what the problem is and we keep beating over the head with the problem, but then there's no actual solution. So when people are working, like, how do people get the most out of behavioral therapy?
So I'm going to kind of, I don't believe that anything like is just like a one size fits all, right? But I think
Sure.
that even in this, what I have found more than anything, especially since all of the people that I work with, they're high performers. Like, I don't have to teach somebody how to get stuff done. The problem is that's their drug of choice, is constantly finding something to distract them from having to sit with their own thoughts. Like, even realistically, like a lot of people where it's like, okay, I need to go make more money. Okay, I need to have this super lean, muscular body. I need to get all these things in check. They're just finding another fix to distract themselves from actually having to sit still. And I think I even did this in the presentation at the coaches summit, where I stopped for a second and everybody got really awkward. People didn't know what to do with silence. Like, that's the issue that we're sitting in right now, is that nobody actually wants to slow down, because that means we're behind. And so another vice that people are leaning into is personal development. I have to fix this. I have to do this. I have to do that. I actually have a client recently where that's what I told her. I was like, I don't want you to do anything. Right now, our goal that we're working on for the next couple of weeks is that I'm not going to give you to-dos. You have mastered checking off things on a to-do list. Stop it. Just go have fun. Like,
Yeah.
what happened to not like planning every single detail and having to be in control of every single detail in your life? Like, but again, I think that that's just kind of what we do, is because the world is constantly selling us on why we're not happy. We're not happy because we aren't putting the right foods in our body, because we aren't 4% body fat, because we don't have 500 grand sitting in our bank account, because we don't have the best pictures on our social media highlight reels. Like, we are constantly being told all the reasons why we're not happy, rather than, I don't know, stepping back and choosing what actually does make me happy. But that requires you to stop and think for yourself. And that, again, like, to kind of tie it back, that was like the whole purpose for my podcast that I haven't posted on in forever. And even like with my book, is that, like, I want you to take the time to sit with this and decide for yourself. And the whole point on how I'm going about it is I just simply am going to like throw a curveball and bring a perspective that you probably didn't consider. So now you have something to question. And when you lead with curiosity, that's how you now can find an answer.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been saying that for years on here, Rob, of like, people don't know what they want. It's like they're so programmed from a young age from their parents, and it's like still potentially trying to please their parents. They don't know what they really want. And then I think with the topic of happiness that you're bringing up, I'd like to hear your thought, and if you've ever had to deal with this with someone. The pursuit of happiness can almost get in the way, where now they're not ever creating peace. So whenever things are uncomfortable or they're not happy, it's like, well, this must not be what I'm supposed to be doing. What is it? So like that difference between happiness and peace, is that something that you've had to have conversation with? How would you define the difference between those two?
Oh, this is so powerful that you're asking me this, because
You're
literally
welcome.
just yesterday, with one of my clients I've been working with for, I think, like 14 weeks now. Again, she's somebody who's a doer, like open to everything. And if, you know, like she, like even just like her willingness to sit in uncomfortable, like was bar none, like amazing with how she was doing it. But it was really awesome because we're sitting there and I just challenged her. I was like, what's something that you learned most about yourself in the last couple of weeks since we last chatted? And she's like, that I don't give an F anymore. And I'm like, Okay, tell me more. Like, I just want to know, like, what exactly like happened for why you felt that way. And she starts going into like, I genuinely went to a concert with my friends and I was dancing and I had so much fun. I giggled like I haven't giggled in a really long time. I took my dogs for a walk, and randomly as I was walking, like my dog stopped walking, turned and looked at me, and I like just said her name and her tail started wiggling, and it made me so full of joy that I like, I could see like just this light coming out of her as she's saying this. And I was like, okay, is it really that you don't care anymore? Or I was like, are you finally for the first time in your life experiencing peace? That it's like, no, like right now, like I'm not telling myself that it's good and I'm not waiting for it to be good. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just good. And she's like, oh my gosh, you're right. And so for me, like that is the biggest thing, that like the hidden value behind every person that I work with is that every single person, when we go into their goals of them wanting to set boundaries, improve their relationships, make more money, lose more weight, whatever it is, like as we're navigating what they want that will bring them happiness, the outcome and the biggest transformation they always end up getting is that simple thing. No, it feels good. Like I actually just feel this sense of peace. It's not something I'm chasing or forcing myself to believe. Like it's just here and it feels good.
Yeah, I think
And
it's
do
such
you,
a different pursuit, between those two, because I think that is what people are looking for, is peace, to be able to like breathe even when things aren't great,
Yeah.
to know like you're at peace with where you are and that this is just part of the fire that's going to refine you. It's
Yeah.
not enjoyable to be in that fire, and they're chasing peace without realizing it. So this will make me happy, but really they're looking for peace. So it's nothing's ever good enough.
Yes.
Does that have to be something that you redirect them to like change? It's like at first, what do you want? What will make you happy? And then it's kind of, why aren't you feeling this way? This is actually what you're looking for. I mean, does that ever specifically come up where you almost have to guide somebody like, you're doing all the things that you're saying and why are you still not happy?
Yeah.
This is maybe what you're looking for. I don't know how to
I think
phrase
what
that.
I think what ends up happening is that I like, because of the way that I'm able to challenge them and hold them accountable, is that I force them to slow down. Like I let them know it's safe, that like, trust me, you know your work ethic as easy as tying your shoes. I promise you, like you slowing down, that's not going anywhere. And I got you, and we're going to keep tracking this. So if we notice that you're starting to fail or spiral, like I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen either. And so like as they start to slow down, that's where it's like they start to actually unravel their thoughts, think deeper about it, really get a chance to discover who they are, how they got where they are now, where they want to go. And then that's where like the clarity happens and everything starts to simplify. Like it's like almost like in the middle of a freaking tornado, and it's just like I'm helping stop the storm. And then like let's just kind of pick up the debris and see what we want to do with all of this. And then like that's kind of where the magic happens. I shared this quote yesterday when my client had mentioned that if you're feeling depressed, that's a sign you're living in the past. If you're feeling anxious, that's a sign you're living in the future. And if you're feeling peace, that's your indicator that you're present. And like when it's like right now, like that doesn't, and I think this is the other part that's important too, the unrealistic expectations that we put on this pursuit, right?
Yeah.
As if we really think that we're going to get to this point that, oh, because I did all of this work, by next week, I'm never going to have a storm come in my life ever again. And we're just going to be bouncing around on marshmallow clouds with unicorns and rainbows. No, like there's going to be a storm right around the corner. Like, and when you realize that like you can be good in the good and the bad, like to me, that's when like nothing can rob you of your peace. Your circumstances can't take that peace because you're like, no, I know how to be happy in the bad. And I also know how to be happy in the good. So no matter which I have, I'm good.
Yeah.
how do you help
It's like
people?
work hard, play hard. Oh, sorry.
Is there a
No,
delay? Is it you guys?
It must be a delay between me and him. I want to ask, and then or say this, and then I won't say anything for a little bit. It's like that work hard, play hard, because I feel like you've described that as been your plastic, like go, 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 learning how to rest. And that mentality could really fool somebody into think, no, I'm not always working hard. Like I play hard too, but they're never doing peace hard. They're never chilling out like what you were just describing. Because it's funny that person could think they have such a good balance because I work hard and I play hard, but their play is so hard. They're still always staying distracted. They're not finding peace. They're not ever resting.
Like, I am having so much fun right now. Like they're forcing
like,
fun.
I'm not working. We're going and doing this. We're doing this. All right, we're going to party tonight. It's like everything is so intense.
Yeah.
And in their mind, they're like, no, I got balance. I'm good. I'm crushing life, So, yeah, I like that perspective as you were saying all that. Aram, I'll stop talking now. Go ahead.
Very much in line with what you were saying. It's helping people navigate the neutrality of life. Because, if you subscribe to the rule of thirds, then a third of your life is amazing, a third of your life sucks, and a third of your life is very neutral. And I think where people struggle is the neutral part. It's like, well, what's next?
1,000%.
Maybe there doesn't have to be anything next. Maybe right now with how things are, like, you're in the fitness world. You understand fitness, Jayme. Like, people always fight the concept of maintenance because in their mind, nothing good is happening in maintenance. It's like, if I'm not in a fat loss phase, I'm not achieving anything. If I'm not in a performance phase, I'm not achieving anything. But it's like, well, what about just being really good at the fucking basics and just exhibiting this level of ferocious consistency where you're just okay with doing the shit because it makes you feel good? Like, no other reason.
It's like that was the goal probably for a lot of people to start working out, was to be able to like feel more confidence, enjoy life, fit on a roller coaster, like all that stuff. And then they get so into it, they're not even doing what they initially set out to do. It always becomes like the next task. Versus like I love neutral. Like just to chill and doing nothing. It's like, but I had a history of always, if I wasn't doing anything, having that feeling of like, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to get to that place where I'm like,
well, and I also think
when I don't have anything to do, I'm not doing anything.
The problem is it's different for you and I, Jimmy, because we've never, and I don't want to say never, because we've certainly had our own body image issues. We've had our own insecurities in other ways. So I'm not walking around as a 50-year-old woman who's been fat her whole life. So I don't know what that feels like. And it's like, okay, well, I'm a little less fat than I was 20 years ago, but I'm still fat. So it's like, do I get to just relax now and enjoy being a little bit less fat? Well, it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you? If you actually zoom out and look where you came from, you were 250 pounds. And now you're 230 pounds. Yes, you're not monumentally a different person who looks completely revamped, but you've done some stuff to make some improvements. And those improvements have now built some habits that you can probably respect and lean on. So how do you, Jayme, when you're working with your clients who have trouble in that neutral state, appreciate that neutrality?
I'm going to start with a quote. Which fun fact.
Page in the book. Which page in the book?
Oh my gosh, actually, it's so funny you say that because I'll have people who'll text me and they're like, oh my gosh, number 73. And I'm like, huh? They're like, quote number 73. I'm like, what was it? Like, I don't remember. I wrote it 4 years ago and I'm like, I wrote that? Okay, let's go. No, but so this one, like, I swear, if this isn't on my tombstone, I will be highly disappointed. Because I probably say this quote like 60 times a week. We need water to survive, but water can also kill us. It is good that we have this drive for more, because that's what's going to be that indicator to keep striving and to not become complacent. And if we feel that all we have to do or all we're allowed to do is keep striving, we're missing the point. And so what I do in these type of situations with people, whether it's that they're chasing their next, business deal, or they're feeling that they need something to happen on a specific timeline, or they're wanting whatever type of result they're wanting to achieve, I slow them down and I'm like, for what? Like, why is it that you want this so bad? And then what happens? Like, what all of a sudden do you have then that you don't have now? And I think, again, it's because it's like keeping up with everybody on social media, and that's what's like driving it, but it isn't actually something that you want. Like, I'm not trying to talk you out of a goal. It's just, let's find out what the motivator is. Is that you're trying to prove something to somebody? Do you think people are going to love you and respect you more that you have it? Do you think you're going to be happier with that than what it is now? And if the answer is yes or no is irrelevant, it's just like, let's actually sit with why you're feeling you need this to happen. Right? Like, it's good that if this woman who had lost 20 pounds wants to keep going, but it's like, okay, but what is is it because you felt that the expectation of losing weight isn't what you thought it was going to be? Are you still seeing in the mirror that version of you 20 pounds heavier? And so it's just still not enough? Or are you like allowing yourself to reap the benefits of how good it feels to be that 20 pounds less that could inspire you to want to keep living out this lifestyle that helped you eliminate that 20 pounds? Like, those are two totally different motivators. And the one is completely drowning in shame, which no wonder you're going to be miserable and you're going to burn yourself out of wanting to accomplish that goal, versus the other one is like, no, this feels good. And I love the way that I'm honoring myself with this, that yes, the bonus is that I'm going to continue to lose weight, but already I love how much better I feel that 20 pounds is off. So I'm going to appreciate that now too. Totally different motivators.
And there's nothing wrong, I think, with having motivations, short term goals, short term visions. I think, especially in the fitness
Absolutely.
industry, everything is always so preachy against this idea of results happening quickly. But if you're somebody who's been in this state of mental turmoil for as long as you have been, then maybe getting somebody that quick win is their motivation to continue, whereas last time they stopped, or last time they met this wall of resistance that was just too much for them to overcome because they didn't get far enough in their own mind. But it's still, I think, that practice, like you had said, and even what you and I practiced, was that ability to just breathe and be still and ask yourself very clearly, what is why is this next thing so important? Why does it have to be like that? And if it doesn't happen for the next year when you expect it to happen in 3 months, does anything actually change? Does that become less sweet? And that's something that I think you really helped me with, is just being able to, like, not only handle emotional ups and downs better, but also just be able to be okay with being okay, and not just like constantly in this level of sprint. I'm not enough. I need to do more. He's making 25,000 a month, so I have to also. He's got 8% body fat. I have 10, so I have to get to 8 to be at that level. As opposed to, like, there's no cost to any of this. Like, it's not, being where I'm at isn't ruining my life. Like, the neutrality that I live in now is a great foundation to have, which most people don't even have solid ground. I mean, you probably see this as much as we do as nutrition and fitness coaches. Like, I'm not going to give you a bunch of tasks to do if you can't even achieve the first two. So it's like, why am I going to keep challenging you with more and more shit to put on your plate if you can't even finish the food that's in front of you? And that's where I think a lot of people get into this mindset of like, well, I need to do more. It's like, well, just get really good at the thing you have to do now, and get really comfortable with where you're at the moment. Because if you're good here, you're going to be good elsewhere. And I can continue to layer in challenges and complexities that at that point you would have earned. But I think people always try to sprint towards this vision that's so far away from them that it doesn't even seem realistic. And that's why it's so easy to quit, as opposed to like, am I just happy? And if I don't know why I'm not happy, I have to figure that out first.
I think Jayme, what you said before, everybody should be asking themselves this. What you said to that client, what have you learned about yourself this week? And I think it was Alan Watts that said, like, however he phrased it, like, the best thing or our only purpose, one or the other, here on earth is to find out more about yourself, like really like understand everything about yourself. So I think that is such a huge thing that people are missing. And it's like, to get people to understand or grasp how important, how valuable that would be if that became, and like you had also mentioned, curiosity. Like if that was the approach, this curious approach to finding out about yourself. But those are difficult conversations to have, because I mean, we're walking through life not knowing ourselves and then trying to create a version of yourself that you think you're supposed to be creating, because whatever programming you had from, again, parents, you go to school, this is the kind of job, whatever it might be, approval from women, approval from men, like whatever those things are, you're just like, okay, yeah, that I see, that looks cool, I'm going to try to create that. And it's never ending.
Yeah.
So I think those were two big things that you said, of the curiosity and what did you learn about yourself this week?
Yeah. And, kind of even going with all of this is that, and this is why I'm so dedicated to working with the individuals that I do, is because like my approach and the people I'm trying to help is they have already mastered work ethic, and right, like they have massive impact and now have the power to make impact because of the success they have. However, the downfall, and I get to see it all the time, is how miserable those people are. So now we have all of these people who are trying to strive to live like this people, thinking that if I'm at 8% body fat just like they are, if I'm making the same monthly income they are, if I'm going all these same trips and getting all of these epic photos of me at these parties, then that means that I made it. And then all of a sudden they get it and they're so empty.
And then they have to keep that front on like they're happy, which then convinces us that's the path to happiness.
Yes.
Yep.
And so,
because they don't know themselves, so they're not vulnerable, and telling people, yeah, it fucking sucks, I'm miserable.
Realistically, it's like we take for granted how privileged we are in America. Like the fact that we have this phone that can literally help us access anyone, anything, purchase. People don't even have to go pick up their own Starbucks anymore. They can have someone deliver it to them. Like
you're starting to trigger Aram when you talk about food delivery as a negative thing. So if we could just refrain from that topic, we don't need to trigger Aram. It's still a deep wound that he's processing lately as he's discovering, being curious about his own.
We'll talk on that in our next session, Aram. But no, it's like little things like that. It's like in a lot of ways, we've become these, and people are going to probably take this out of context, and that's okay. But we've become these entitled children that it's like, well, we want more, but we don't even appreciate what it is that we already have. And what's perfect timing with all of this, I just got off a call right before this and I was talking about it, is that like, we are constantly living in this world of like, I got to find my passion and I have to find my purpose. I'm sorry. You are not some special human that is given this beautiful purpose that nobody else has. We all have been put here, in my opinion, for the same purpose. That's to love and that's to serve. Your unique gifts is now what gives you the ability to serve and live out your purpose in a specific way. But you are not special as if you have a different purpose than anybody else here on this earth. So now, again, when people are getting trapped in the disease of comparisonitis, of I need to do this, I have to have this, I have to become this, then I'll be happy, then I'll be successful. They're chasing after something when really at the end of the day, everything that they want is already right in front of them. I remember Gary Vaynerchuk did like a talk somewhere, and he said the same thing. He goes, I know people who only bring in $35,000 a year, and I know people who bring in 35 million a year, right? And he goes, they equally carry, there are certain ones that equally carry the same amount of happiness, that it doesn't matter. And this will lead me to my next quote. It's an African proverb. If there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do me no harm. And this isn't, I'm me and I know who I am and like I can do bad all by myself. No, like there's this shame and this pride and something to prove there. But when it's like, no, like I genuinely love what you're doing and who you are. That's just not in my life, but like I'm good with what I'm doing over here. And if I want more, it's because I know that I can go do more with it, but I don't have to do it to prove anything. And again, that's where that sense of like peace comes that nobody can rob. That's where that true joy can come that isn't necessarily fleeting. It's accessible all the time. It's just if you choose to access it.
That's funny. I was having a conversation with, we're off. I'm sorry, buddy.
I'm
it's
just
right
glad
in.
it's not me.
I know we were having technical difficulties with Jayme before we hit record. Now me and Aram are seem to be this off pause or delay. But I'll say this. Um, it's funny that you bringing that up about achieving those things. I just had a conversation with my son this past week. We were out for a walk with the dog, and he out of nowhere just goes, I don't get the same feeling when I get a gift like I used to. Like he remembers when he was like 8 or 9 and like losing his shit over getting like a Nintendo Switch. The greatest gift receiving kid I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's the best. Like my parents are like, whatever he wants me to give him because his reaction's so good. And he's at that age. He's like, I just don't get this. Like, it's cool. I'm like thankful, but I don't get that same feeling anymore. And I go, you're getting to that age where now you're only going to get that feeling when you achieve something that you have put effort into, but it's like, it's from the work that you did that you end up getting that feeling. It's not from like this outcome or from a gift or anything like that. So then we just talked about like making action goals, whether because he's, in his sports and he's having some body image stuff. And it's like, well, pick a goal that, hey, I'm going to do this, not I'm going to make this team or I'm going to get this body or whatever it is. But we talked about it, but it was like that awareness at 12 that these things don't do it for me. Like these as adults, we're still trying to achieve these things. What's that?
I said these woke kids.
Yeah. I was just like really impressed that he even realized that and kind of understood it. And then it's hopefully he's not always, he gets away from like, okay, I need that next thing. Cause it's easy. He'll get hyper obsessed like all of us with the next thing that I need to get. But yeah, I don't know. Just bring it up because like a 12-year-old is kind of realizing it.
I do want to challenge that slightly, but Aram, say what you were going to say first.
I think we spend a bulk of our lives trying to fit a certain template that, whether it's school that set it up for you or your parents set it up for you, but there's always this level of conformity that everybody's so concerned about. And if they're not conforming to those standards that other people imposed on them, then they don't quite feel like they belong. And what I've noticed as I've aged is I gravitate way more towards authenticity, individuality, and nonconformism because that's truly attractive to me because that's somebody who doesn't give a fuck about what anybody says or does or thinks, and they're just doing their own thing, and they're the ones that are usually the weird ones. They're the ones that can go out sober. They're the ones that don't have to use food to cope. They're the ones that don't need to be surrounded by a bunch of strangers. They're the ones that can go out into the mountains by themselves and just hike on their own without any friends. And you look at some of those people and you envy them. And when I look at some of the lives of the nonconformists that I've been surrounded by in the last 10 years of my career, I always ask myself, I'm like, why can't I be doing what they're doing? Like, why can't I be the guy that goes to the concert sober and dances just because I like the music? Why do I have to be intoxicated to do it? Or there's a million and one examples of that same situation. And I really do believe it's the desire for conformity and the desire to belong that fucks so many adults up, and they never shed that. And it's like, well, I have to have kids, and I have to have this job, and I have to have this house, and this car has to go along with it. And if all of this stuff doesn't happen, then what was the point of any of it? It's like, do you even understand why you're like, I bet if people were actually challenged on the idea of like, do you even want children? Have you actually sat with the idea, like you had children, you had 3 of them, but did you want any of them? If you could have done it all over again, would you have had them? Would you have had this job? And I bet if people really looked deep down inside, I bet people would be making a lot of different choices.
Guys, I have like 3 different things to say now. Okay, where do I start? One with slightly challenging. Yes, and because I actually had somebody say this to me. There's so many people when they actually hear my testimony of like how royally messed up of a human I was and continue to unlearn and rewire. Right? They're like, "What? You're just so happy and joyful all the time," and I'm like, you have no idea how hard I work to choose positivity over negativity, like nasty, dark, evil thoughts. used to consume the majority of my headspace. And so to show up this way took a lot of effort. And there's a lot of times that I am choosing one thing versus how I'm feeling behind the scenes. So like similar to kind of with what you were saying, Aram, is that I very much have always envied people who just naturally seem so happy all the time. And so, Jayme, to go back to you, like with your son, is like, yes, I agree with that. And I do think that when we're the ones that put the blood, sweat, and tears into something, we appreciate something more. And that's why it feels better than just somebody randomly giving it to us. But there is also in that appreciation that's the thing we start taking advantage of, that the luster and the excitement around this appreciation goes away. Like I know that we throw around this whole, say 5 affirmations in the morning and write down 5 things you're grateful for. That's great. However, how much attention are you genuinely putting towards those things that you're saying you're grateful for? Like, yeah, I can be like, I'm grateful I got woke up today. Not necessarily, because sometimes life sucks and I really don't want to be here right now. Right? Like, but it's like, dang, like how cool is it that like I have the ability to move my hands? Like, can you imagine all the things I wouldn't be able to do if I had my hands? Like the fact that like I have a body that can go to the gym, like that hits different when you like feel appreciation towards a gift that's giving you for another day of life, for an encounter that you have with an awesome or a crappy human. Like you have the choice to find the value in that. And I think that that's the secret sauce, is when you slow down enough and you allow yourself to be that aware of what it is, then that's when the gratitude is there. That's when the happiness comes in. That's how it feels that way. So yes, to both of you guys, that would just be the additional perspective I would want to add. And I know this isn't this kind of podcast, but I just have to say it because it's beaming in my brain. In the Bible, Solomon, that's Ecclesiastes, that's what the entire book of Ecclesiastes is about. This dude was, according to the Bible, the richest man to ever live, the wisest man to ever live. He had like over 600 wives, which, holy cow, that has to be exhausting. He threw the biggest parties, all of the things. Like this guy had everything. And he's still sitting there trying to chase and understand the meaning of life. Like, so again, telling you that these things that you're chasing in the world are never going to fully give you this satisfaction as what you're going to find. And like the world tells us, right? Success is money, power, and fame. But Aram, just as you were saying, when you find authentic people who are just good and honest and they're kind and they love and they just want to selflessly give and just be joyful, like that means more than any large paycheck that you're going to get. And so I think, again, if we are kind of, yes, we can still go after those things, but if you see that more as the bonus to your happiness rather than being the pursuit of your happiness, that's when it changes. Final thing I'm going to mention, because I almost made a post, and this is a side tangent. I am sorry. We can bring us back to topic because it kind of fits, but it kind of doesn't. There is a massive difference between being nice and being kind. Yeah. So authenticity. Nice is for you. It's obligatory. It's for you to be able to keep your reputation to look good for everybody else around you. Yes, nice is better than being a shitty human sometimes. But if you're kind, kindness is something that is selfless. It's genuine. It is real love of caring for another person other than yourself. And that feels different. And so I think to try to somewhat bring this back into that is like, I think it's still, what are your drivers of anything and everything you're doing? But that requires you to slow down enough to actually think about it, rather than just keep chasing all of these other things or blaming other people for your problems, or saying if you have this, then all of a sudden all your problems are going away, because we live in a society of instant gratification. Slow down and find out, one, who are you? What do you want? And what's motivating you to want it? And then when you start to like peel those layers back, then I feel that's where the real answers reveal themselves. Okay, I'm done on my tangent. Thanks for listening.
Oh,
I was going to say, I'm like, I didn't hear anything.
I didn't say anything. Go ahead. I was
What were
waiting
you
for
saying?
No,
I
I
think it's
just said
awesome.
I was waiting. I didn't want to start talking, and then Aram started, like has happened like 5 times. So I was just explaining that why I wasn't saying anything, but I was muted. So I'm a degenerate.
I think the overarching theme of this
Is
conversation has
Aram
been
muted now?
no,
I
I'm
don't hear
on.
you.
Aram, I can't hear you either.
You can't?
He's
Can you hear
muted.
me?
Now
Now,
he can.
How delayed
Can
am I?
talk. Now we
I'm
can't hear you.
I'm talking.
She, she dropped the mic and it ruined all the microphones.
Yep.
shut down the
Yep.
internet.
Now he's mute.
I'm not muted.
Yeah, we're catching a syllable every now and then, Aram.
I think I'm just delayed.
Yep, he's done. All right, okay,
Okay.
bye.
Well, what were you going to say while we try to figure out his inner volume?
No, I was just saying I'm waiting to see what he has to say. Now I've lost any thought that I had at any point. But I was like, I didn't want to start saying, and then he starts right away, like has happened so many times. That's all I was saying. I'm gonna let Aram go. I didn't want to say anything. And now this awkwardness.
Is it your little thingy that you were talking about at the beginning? Oh,
No,
It's
okay.
not even
that
plugged
seems.
in.
We don't
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Oh,
You're insanely delayed.
we heard the word no.
Can you hear
We're
me
just gonna
now?
sit awkwardly. We could play a little game of like lip reading.
Yeah, like what is Aram saying?
Yeah. Say I want to vacuum.
I want to vacuum.
We heard acuum.
Yeah. It looks like you say I want to F you when you say vacuum. So then I wanted to then follow that up with that was really inappropriate, Aram, with what I lip read. But
Am
that
I
was
coming through now at all?
no, he's in and out. Anyway, Jayme, how are you, Jayme? How are you doing lately? He
Life
might
is
have to
good.
log off. He might have to log off and log back on.
Yeah,
Yeah, how are
something.
you doing?
Well, do you have anything to say on what I just said?
No, I lost anything that I
Okay,
had that
all
was in
right.
my head.
Well,
It
hopefully it was good
completely
then.
went away. You
If
dropped the
y'all
mic.
if
There's
y'all
really
were
not.
if y'all were listening to that, hopefully you can comment some thoughts on
They
that.
Yeah. There's nothing even to say. I mean, you said it all. I like the passion behind it. I like the drop mic. You know,
I did.
but
I was like my Red Bull moment. Like, do you guys like Red Bull? I really like Red Bull.
how much caffeine did you have before this call?
I didn't. That's the funny thing is
Nice.
I don't touch caffeine other than the coffee that I drink at 4:30 in the morning. I wake up at 4:03. I drink my first cup at 4:30 and then I head to the gym. But like even when I go in coffee meetings, y'all don't want me to consume caffeine after that because already if this is like the energy that it is, like I mean it'd be a fun time, but like already this is a lot for a lot of people. So I really refrain my caffeine for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what what is something for you that you're either excited about or just even for you personally, like this season of your life that you're learning about yourself?
Oh, I like that question way better than the first one. So, what am I learning about myself? I feel like a lot. I really have reached this point of like a deeper level of like trusting the process.
Hmm.
Because as somebody who's like a recovering control freak, right, which is why I do so well coaching a lot of type A overachievers because it takes one to know one. But this current chapter and like unraveling of like just letting things like fall into place is that I used to be the type of person. Do you remember you watched Finding Nemo, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember a lot about it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I was like Darla, not Dory, not the fish. Darla is the niece at the beginning of the movie. Her uncle is the dentist, and he's the one that gifts her Nemo, and kind of the whole storyline on how Nemo ends up in the toilet that ends up in the ocean. And it's because like she loves things and was so excited about them that she would like kill them because she would just grip them so tightly. And when it came to the things that I would want in life, that's how I would approach it. And I would put this expectation and I would lean into it with excitement and all of that. But that over excessive amount of emotion, even though it was a good emotion, it actually like killed a lot of things because I wanted so badly for it to happen on my time. And actually, like a full transparent moment here, Aram had asked me to speak at the Real Coaches Summit, not this past year, but 2 years ago. And I ended up turning it down. And I was kind of kicking myself for it. But what was crazy is just even the way that I had evolved from then to then this last spring when I spoke, I'm like, dude, I would have totally like dropped that so bad if I would have stepped on that stage trying to talk about what I was talking about a year prior. And so I think I've just reached this understanding and this space of discernment in my life of whether it's personal, professional, relational, of like carrying expectations loosely, where it's still holding myself to a standard to like habitually work towards something, but knowing and trusting that like my value didn't change because of the outcome. Like that didn't mean that I wouldn't have this at some time in the future if I didn't get it now. That didn't mean that it was not going to work out ever just because it didn't happen now. And then I'm like, okay, if it didn't, maybe there's something else here that I can learn and grow from that could make me better handle when that opportunity does finally present itself. So I think I've just unlocked an even deeper level of that. Like that's something that's been transforming over time, but I just hit a new level.
Yeah. That falls right in line with where I'm at.
Honestly, as I was saying that in the conversations you and I had, like back at the summit, like I feel like you are very much in a similar position.
Yeah. I think it was like a couple posts ago, and it was referenced again this last post just about letting go. And like I didn't even realize it about myself, how I would, it's like, all right, we got to get ahead of this, or like damage control, like what on anything. It was always that trying to control the scenario without, not in a manipulative way or like trying to control people, but it's like, I realized that I did that, and it's insane how freeing it is when you really do start to let go. And what you said with like the process, like, you have to go through things to get to the other side, but we're so wanting to just manufacture our way to the other side.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I have to go through this. I'm going to have to go through these uncomfortable things. I'm going to have to just let go. And it's crazy how many times in the past year and a half where it's hard work. Like, it's hard to go, do not text this person right now about this.
Yeah.
Do not try to, defend yourself or explain yourself or anything like that. Just let it, and then it ends up becoming nothing. Like, it was the thing that you were worried about was nothing.
Yeah.
And you realize you just let people live their lives. You let people think what they think. You let things unfold. It's so freeing in those like anxious moments.
Well, and I think that's the part too, is that like we so like desperately know we want that kind of like, I'm forcing myself to have so much fun right now. Like, I don't care what anybody says, tonight I'm having fun. Like letting go, we all want to do that. Like giving that like control over, like, even though we know it's scary, like we know deep down that's what we want. It's just genuinely doing it and trusting what's going to happen when we let go. We tend to just pick it back up because we want damage control. Yep. Not being in control is super scary, but I think the thing that I've continued to learn over time is that we can only control what we can control. And when you realize that that's not really anything, like even being super proactive with taking care of yourself and eating the right things and exercising and, all of that, like you can get freaking sideswiped by a bus tomorrow, and didn't matter how hard you worked for that, right? Like, life is still going to life. And so it's like, like you said, the freedom and the peace that comes from reaching that point, but that unfortunately and fortunately, that's something that you grow through. You can't
Yeah.
just skip steps and achieve that. And in a world that has a solution to everything, and also a culture that, again, is just so based off of instant gratification, we want everything now. It's hard to have the patience to let that happen. And man, this was just a powerful week of client calls, I guess, because there was another client that I was talking with, and I just had to keep telling her like that. Like everybody's like, oh, I just got to manifest it, and what's meant for me is always going to find its way, and I'm just going to be happy. And I'm like, no, the appreciation that comes from the hard work is good too. Like if we kick it even to like our nature, if it doesn't storm and it doesn't rain and we don't have wind, like
Trees don't have roots.
yes. And then like, cause there was even, did you ever see the study on the tree they put in the dome?
No, the roots just super shallow, and as soon as they took it out, it fell right over in the first storm. It would be my guess.
Kind of, yeah. So yeah, what they did is that they put this perfect environment for this tree to be in. They made sure that it was getting proper like water, nutrients, sun, all of that. But for some reason, the tree still fell over. And the reason being was because it didn't have wind. And wind was necessary to help create the resilience of the tree.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it's like, again, going back to that, as I've learned it, don't get me wrong, like it's not fun to experience the hard times, but it's like learning to find the joy in it, right? Like even in like dating, going on a date with somebody, and I could totally choose all the reasons why it was a waste of my time, why that person sucked, why whatever, but I'm like, or I could just be like, this was really awesome, that although this didn't end up being what I thought it was going to be, I had a really cool conversation with a person that maybe I never would have met had I not given this an opportunity to do so. Like choosing to find the joy and the good out of a situation, and then what is it that I can learn about myself, about what I want, what I don't want. You know, what maybe like what was something that moving forward, this is what I wouldn't want to bring up on a date, or maybe that I should, right? Like there's always an opportunity to like enjoy the experience if you let yourself do it.
Yeah. And it doesn't always have to be like toxically positive. It can just be like, hey, I went on that date and now I know that's not an option for me.
Yeah.
So I filtered out an individual.
Yes.
You know, it could even just be as simple as that. Like, hey, now I know if I didn't, I might have been wondering, was he, was she, you know, like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there is letting go is a learned skill. And like you said, you have to do it in those hard moments. Fight your instinct that you've always had to take control of the situation. You see how it works out. Then the next time it's a little bit less effort, because it's like your default mode comes in, and it's like our subconscious is just controlling all of our actions and there's no awareness around it. And then all of a sudden it becomes so easy, but it takes a while. I would say it took me like a year to almost get to that place where when the exact same thing comes up now that might have come up a year ago, I'm like, okay. Like in a genuinely good, healthy way where I'm like, it'll work out. This is just what has to occur for me to receive what comes from that.
Well, and to kind of tie this back to like a fitness analogy, right? To hopefully like connect that dot for somebody is like, because these type of soft skills, right? It's not tangible. It's not something that you necessarily can track the progress of. It's not as evident, which makes it harder to train those muscles.
There's a lot more awareness.
Yeah, these are like the accessory muscles that are very beneficial to have strengthened. It's just you have to know how to hit those muscles to strengthen them, right? And so the analogy that's coming up for me on this, and I don't even know if I've shared this. I wonder if I shared this in the last time I chatted with you guys, but like a 500-pound barbell with like weights or whatever on it, like to deadlift it. The weight never changes. Like 500 pounds is 500 pounds. You never picking up even just a barbell, that 500 pounds is going to feel like 5,000 pounds. But you start practicing and you start lifting and you get up to like 300 pounds. Now all of a sudden it feels closer, where that doesn't feel like 5,000 pounds. I would be like, hey, that is really heavy and that's something I don't know how to lift. But let's say you keep building and let's say you reach that. The weight was always the same. It was you that became stronger. It was you that became more resilient. It was you that knew how to approach the bar more effectively than what you did before. And so I think that like whether it is fitness, whether it's with nutrition, whether it's with money, relationships, yourself, whatever it may be, like life is always going to be hard. It's just the more and more we practice, the more we get experience out of life, and the more we choose to find the value in that experience, the more manageable it is to carry that weight.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking about like with dieting, the person who over consumes on the weekend and their coach is like, just get back to the prescribed calories, but they go super under and then they continue that cycle. And it's like they never let go of this idea that they have to only eat 500 calories on Monday because the weekend was a garbage pail kid. They're coming back. But it's like, yeah, it's like you let go of that. You trust what the coach is telling you,
Right.
you know, just do. And then all of a sudden you go, oh,
I was okay.
I didn't have to do it. But for years, they're in that cycle of I overdid it. Now I need to underdo it, overdid it. And like, so that would be like my nutrition analogy for facing these kinds of things, like with the barbell and letting go of situations and control and all of that. So that's cool. I like hearing that.
Yeah. Is it wrong not coming back?
I don't know. He didn't even text me. He's a real piece of trash. He's probably like on calls or something at this point. It's not.
It's like, working. I'm just gonna go back to work. I'll talk to these guys later.
Yeah. So, Jayme, if you're doing okay financially, maybe you and me can gift him a new laptop.
There we go.
We'll split it. I know you can handle it.
We like to give back to those in need.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't understand. But yeah, no, I always love hearing your perspective with stuff. I love quote. That's what I said when I first posted about your book in my stories. It was like, I love quotes too. And I love hearing the explanation or the perspective of different people. I'm all about hearing somebody else's perspective. And so I love it. I love that kind of stuff because you have the quick thing and then you have the
well, what's even been cool with that, and the example that I always give with this book, and it's really cool because I've had feedback already even from other people. It's crazy that as you evolve, how your perspective on that same quote changes. One of the biggest ones that I always reference from my book is take what you need and leave the rest. Like I grew up in a household that like we were tightwads, like how dare you ask for more than what you need. So for me, when I would hear take what you need and leave the rest, like if you and I were sitting at a pizza party, like, but I don't know if anybody else had a chance to eat today. I don't really need it. Like, would that pizza sound good? Yeah, but I want it, but I don't need it. So I'm just going to leave it for everybody else. That was how I first ever perceived that quote. Yeah. Then I like this guy I was dating at the time. He was also a coach, and we would like discuss our like quotes or our posts before we would actually post them. And the one time I went ahead and posted this, and he's like, you never asked me about that before you post it. I'm like, okay, well, clearly you disagree with what I had to say. What's up? And he like completely like saw it from this space of like an abundant mentality that like, no, but if it's there, like it's, I can take that and that's okay too. So then my perspective started to shift on that. And then now like take what you need and leave the rest is a very like monumental quote within every speaking engagement that I do, which also shout out to Jeb, who I founded as like my low key, like brother from another mother who pretty much had the same presentation as me, even though I never met him. Love it. But was that like, no, like there's something for you to have, like allow yourself to focus on that and just let the rest go. Like find the value in this and let the rest go. But over time that evolved. And so what's even cool, like with this book is like that there's been times that people will just pick it up and just randomly flip to a quote. And like a week later, they'll randomly flip to a quote and it's the same one. And they're like, man, based off what I'm going through today, like this quote means something completely different than what it did a week ago.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
Yeah.
Proof that you're growing and learning, and ask yourself, what did I learn for why I think differently about this?
Yeah. And even that quote, just like people need to learn that quote when consuming content. I mean, it's like they'll love somebody's post and they post one thing they disagree with and it's like, I'm done with you. It's like, no, take what you need and leave the rest. That post didn't resonate with you. It didn't apply to you. Yeah. Leave it. Wait for the next one. It's okay. You know, it's like it's this extremism with the deliverer of information.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. But agreed.
Well, since Aram, I don't want to miss too much of stuff. I think you gave a lot of good perspective shifts on things. If you could give a very generic homework assignment,
Done.
go.
Okay. I want you, whoever's watching this, it's always my favorite one to give. I want you to set a timer on your phone. I don't care if you're sitting on a park bench. I don't care if you're sitting in your favorite chair in your house. I don't care what it is, but I want the phone to be away from you. And I just want you to spend 20 minutes like sitting there. No
If
distraction, no
that com-
music in the background. Go ahead.
if that completely scares someone and they're thinking, no way, can we start with 5,
No.
20?
Yeah.
I like that confidence in that answer.
And the reason why I say that is because roughly 97% of our brain is what they chalk up as our subconscious, meaning that we are only conscious of about 2 to 3%. And many times when people are like sitting, like let's even say like you're writing for 20 minutes, those first like 7 to 8 minutes, you are still functioning at your conscious level. And so it's until you have to sit there long enough that like the other stuff starts to bubble up and surface up. So to me, 5 minutes, I'm not doing you be like, oh, cool. I literally sat there and the whole time I was thinking about when's this 5 minutes up.
Yeah. Should they do anything during that time? Would you say, hey, bring something to write with in case you feel like writing it down?
Yes. Yes.
But they don't have to write anything
Yes.
down. Just see what comes up.
Yes.
And then even what we were just talking about, let go in that moment. Let go of an idea that you might have of what's going to come up. Let go of an idea that you're going to just be like undistracted with thought. Like your mind's going to start thinking about the day. It's going to start thinking about things you could be doing instead of this.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I think some people, I'm no good at this. Like just keep thinking about things I have to do. Like let go of expectations, which you also mentioned earlier.
Which,
today.
and that's exactly
see
why
what
to
happens.
this, I would rather somebody achieve the 20 minutes and not put an expectation, because I even know for me, like still to this day, like yoga and meditation, to slowly focus in only on my breath. Yeah, right. My brain is going to go a gajillion different areas because I now am feeling like, what's going to happen if I only think of this one thought? Is it going to be blissful? Am I going to cry? And I expect there to be a big breakthrough if I force myself to do that. I don't have any expectation for somebody. Yes, if you want to write, great. I just don't want any distraction of a background noise, of something that could be influencing that. I don't want you trying to get things done with work. I don't want any distraction. Just spend it however you want to. If it's literally like, who am I? How did I get here? What am I feeling right now? There's a lot of power in just literally naming your emotions, because a lot of times we don't know how to. We keep it at the basics of like angry, tired, sad, depressed. But what if it's like, I'm feeling perplexed? I'm feeling curious, right? Like there's so much more available, but you have to give yourself an opportunity to do so. So spend the 20 minutes however you want. Just don't allow anything to be a distraction and just see what happens.
Yeah, I like it. Well, that's the homework for all the listeners. The intro homework. Learn to be quiet. I talk about this with my son a lot. Like you need to learn how to be bored. That's where creativity comes from. You always doing something, you are distracting yourself from your own thoughts. When you're sitting there quiet, you start really figuring out some things like what you just said, like, what do I actually want? You come up with all kinds of stuff when you're not distracted. And everything that you talked about today, it's all distractions. Hard work, hard play, the grind, the next thing. These are all distractions from what's really going on. So, Jayme, I love you. I'm so grateful I know you. I feel like I'm about to cry.
There you go. You're redeeming yourself from the beginning. Keep it going.
I'm just thinking about how, we got on the phone. I'm not even kidding. How we got on the phone a year and a half ago. And I mean, we haven't talked a bunch about it on here, but, with going through a divorce and everything, and just one conversation with you giving me one assignment. And it opened my eyes to stuff. So I do. And just to like, I wasn't calling other people, it was like, you were just a person who I'm like, I can at least just unload. I felt like I could, how I was feeling. And and ask for any, guidance or input or perspective or anything. So, yeah, that came out of nowhere. Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
Well, I
yeah.
at least
So
need to
thank you.
also say, like, I appreciate that. And even like, it's just so crazy because even like how it went where I met Aram, and I know like we've talked about it before, like I met him through social media and I was coaching him without ever, like, we were living in the same city and I never met him. And then I moved to Texas. He moved to California. And the first time I ever actually met him in person was when you guys both came to Austin
Austin. Yeah.
for that conference. And I had only met you one other time. And that was when we were doing the podcast together. And like, I even just remember, I'm like, how are these, like, these are two of my absolute favorite humans on the planet. Like, I talk about you guys all the time. And that's why I was like, oh my gosh, I just need to talk with you guys. And you're like, let's get back on the podcast. I'm like, cool. I just wanted to talk with both of you. And now I get to do it live. So I appreciate you more than you know.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. It's always such a cool feel when you do like connect to somebody and you just see them. Like you could see them and feel seen. It's a cool experience. So I feel like you're one of those people in my life. And obviously if I'm ever in Austin again, not Boston, Austin, I'll be hitting you up, and then maybe we'll see you at any of these conferences.
I was going to say, I plan on coming to the next summit just because I'm not speaking.
Yeah, I plan on being there.
You're going to go too?
I plan on it. I mean, I already got my ticket. But it's always, am I going to get approved for days off? If not, am I taking unpaid days off? I've historically been approved. There's no reason why I shouldn't be approved to go to the conference and get, paid days off, professional development. But either way, even if I have to take unpaid days, I'll always support Aram. And
what are the dates of it again, by the way? Because I'm already
It's like the last Monday, Tuesday of April, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. So
like
all of you
26th,
listening
27th.
to, man, I'm bummed that I didn't go the first 2 years, and I was honored that he allowed me to come in even as like a speaker and not even have to have my skin in the game first, because I know that that's rare. But great room of people. And yes, that would also selfishly be a reason for why I get to see you guys. So if not, I am declaring that we need to somehow find a way to plan like an annual trip. So even if it isn't the summit, we just all get together, like we rent an Airbnb and we all hang out.
Somewhere in nature would be always good. Get out a little hike, see some stuff.
I think this is inspiring that. I'm big on accountability. I'm not letting this one go. We're going to make that happen. Okay.
We won't count our macros that weekend. Jayme, please ask the final question if you remember it, if you've listened to any episodes since you've been on. What is the final question? Just say bye, like real loud.
Oh, that's not a question though.
I know. We trick everybody and tell them it's a question, and then we get them nervous, and then they just.
I know. I was gonna say, but because Stephen Bartlett does that with his, is he always makes his last guest leave a question
for the next
person.
We just say this. We go, all right, are you ready for our last question? We ask everybody, every guest, the same question so that we can compare and judge you with all the previous guests. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Bye.